Hey guys, Crypto Sniper, and we're looking at Bitcoin dollar. This is against Bitstamp, but it's largely the same against all exchanges. So this is a key learning that many of you would get a great deal out of taking. On a crypto, particularly the benchmark crypto, the boss crypto, Bitcoin, versus USD, stroke fiat, Tether, etc. Generally, you are going to get murdered if you trade reversals. So I did a YouTube clip last night for the Crypto Sniper. That was a face-to-face one, and I said, you know, there's a kind of head and shoulders structure in there, but it's going to probably, on balance of probabilities, turn into a continuation pump to the upside. You trade reversals at your peril. That was last night. I was whisking my daughter off to the cinema, and here's where we are today, the next morning. So this is what you got. So many people, traditional technical analysts, they would just come in here and they would probably draw what I'd call a left shoulder here on this capitulation moment there. You went slightly higher. I sometimes call these the Table Mountain head and shoulders. Because they have higher highs, but they have it like in quite a long period of flat topness. So you would have that, and then you would have your dip into the point there, and then you get your rally. Note there are a couple of periods. This is something we note often, and you'll learn a lot more about this if you were to do a program, but we look at the key points that are always just run. Often the most technically significant lines are those just run, not at the extremes and at the bottoms. That's classic support and resistance training, which, while useful, is really very handy for trading. Support and resistance levels often just run. So if you were a buyer there and you went buy the new high, you would have been tripped into the market buy, you would have made a bit of money, and then you would have been spanked down. So support and resistance is useful, but it's not the best trading system because it's obvious. So what we get here is a right shoulder forming, and then you actually got a bit of a squeeze here going on here. Which direction is it going to go? You might have seen that sell off, and many people would have got short early trying to make more money. And what's actually happened out of this? It's not a head and shoulders. It's just got a impulse, a slightly higher impulse, and then a third impulse which is slightly lower, and it's not led to a head and shoulders break, which would have required at bare minimum that breaking, but more importantly I would have guesstimated that using once again our HVF method rather than traditional technical analysis method, which you can also find out more about, would have required at least this level to have gone down. So had you sold short here on this slightly impulsive move that you're saying, here we go, we're starting the move, and put a stop either here or there, you are now out and you're watching Bitcoin pump to new highs. And this is almost, we regularly get what we call an HVF setup. That's the Hunt Volatility Funnel setup out of these, which start out looking like head and shoulder structures. And in fact, we've done our draw and we have a target for this move. You can find out more by coming onto Premium for that. Just go to the website and you can be part of the WhatsApp groups. In fact, we're doing a webinar tomorrow, by the way. Go register on the site. Too many people now to talk to one-on-one. So we're doing a webinar on a special offer that'll be the final for this year, and we'll be looking at new pricing in the new year. But sorry, I don't want to get all salesy on you. What I want you to learn is essentially be wary of head and shoulder initial type structures on Bitcoin versus fiat. So I tend not to. So people have said, hey, you say you never short. No. Let me clarify. We tend not to very often, virtually rarely, to short Bitcoin against a fiat on just a head and shoulders pattern. I did do it and was very fortunate to catch a very good move when we have both HVF method and a head and shoulders interplaying. Then we have a higher justification, and it's not every day. So in most instances, my observation is when you get head and shoulder type structure, it's Bitcoin having a breath, and despite these brutal sell-offs, there's a lot of the scared money getting out over there, more of the scared money getting out, then it rallies, little bit of scared money getting out, there's no more scared money, and then it breaks out of what ends up being a rest zone, and in fact often turns into something that we can work with in terms of targets, and we have exactly that now. So that's a little learning for you guys in a highly expanding market, which this certainly is versus fiat. And bear in mind, I always find it ironic to hear people like The Guardian, and let's just run that one, by the way, The Guardian value a blockchain of fools. They are calling it an absolute pyramid scheme, all crypto, and it's absolutely ironic. In fact, I should do a separate clip on this because this deserves a right kick in the bubble, the South Sea bubble, etc., and all of that. And it talks about real money. The irony of talking about real money as a quadrillion, listen to me, a quadrillion in fiat plus just in derivatives, never mind bonds, market cap of equities, etc., highly indebted and government controlled and nation based as real money, and then the unencumbered money without the debt bomb that has only a 250 billion market cap as of roughly this morning. If we have a little looky-see and refresh that, is beyond me. But anyway, 269, there she blows. 269 is beyond me. But anyway, let them carry on and don't let them shake you out. I talk about being successful in the market is often like psychologically you're riding a mechanical bull, and the bull is designed to throw you off, and the game is just staying in the game. And sometimes you have to hold in hard. If you read too much news, if you get too much scary stuff, treat it often, and that's where the phrase, I think, FUD comes, as psychological propaganda. Think of the Vietnam War. GI, go home. That's right. They're trying to throw you out. They're trying to psych you out. And these clowns are all about it. But anyway, back to this. Head and shoulders structures don't usually turn into sell-offs on head and shoulders alone. We have a special method that sometimes tells us when you should take them slightly more seriously, but it's rare, and in a highly expanded market, my experience has shown that when Bitcoin forms this kind of structure, it's actually a pause period before it pumps out, and in fact it often gives us our upside setup that we look for, which means it generates new targets, which is highly useful. However, you have to be patient and not lose money during this period, because people get anxious, they start to get, it's not going up anymore, they get skittish, and this is what causes all this DNA of pricing. This is merely the footsteps in the sand of a crowd of people that are undergoing various forms of emotions, and you need to decide, am I going to be more volatile and more skittish than the average market, or am I going to be smarter, and do I have a process? And that's where we come in, and when you have a process, you also stress far less about the crybabies and miscellaneous bedwetters that get all humpy and funky. The Guardian will be the first to call for super taxes on crypto millionaires after they've been ill-gotten gains made by these capitalist pigs who have benefited from this huge expansion once they've been proven wrong on crypto. So you know where you stand on that bunch of fools. Anyway, quite a broad topic base that I started out on here, shooting from the hip on everything at the moment. But yeah, just watch that one, and Bitcoin is in a setup, and we have a target for further upside on it. And remember, it also doesn't occur in one straight line. We also have interim levels where it will rest. So if you charge in and chase now as a result of this video, you may make error at your own cost as well. Don't make your journeys uncomfortable. Have a methodology, learn a process. Following up from a clip I did last night, warning that there was a form of head and shoulders structure, and that the market often pumps upside out of it, reversals at your peril, particularly crypto versus fiat. That's your key message and take out for those that follow the channel. Goodbye, enjoy, trade small, have a good weekend.